Hi everyone, welcome back to Opportunity Elite Player Development. Today we're going to be having a look at a training session that you can do in small groups. At the moment the government have said that we can go back and train in small groups, but we need to make sure we keep a social distance. So this training session today is something that we can use with players staying in their own area, making sure they're getting lots of touches on the ball and a good little workout, but they are keeping away from other members of that group. And how we'll do it is we'll start off with just 4 cones, 4 different colours, and we'll get you lots of touches on the ball, practice on both feet, developing skill, coordination and balance. We have limited space, but what we're trying to do is make sure that we use both feet, keep getting little checks forward so we're understanding where we are in relation to the square, and making sure we're getting used to rolling the ball and getting grip on the ball. So here we're rolling from the middle to the front of the square. As we roll to the middle again, we're going to the side and then side once again and back to behind us. So it's all about getting grip and lots of different touches on the studs. We're now progressing into a bit of dribbling, getting the players working on their turning and controlling that ball on both feet as they're moving around the cones. Now we do this in a colour order. It can be whatever colour order you as the coach or as the player decides, but the players need to then try and make sure that they follow that. So you call out the colours, they can then dribble around those cones, keeping the ball under control. So we're progressing now to adding in some skill, moving around the square, going from each cone to each cone. Now, we want to get into the middle and have a quick little drop of the shoulder with a step over. Try and get the players having little checks so they're looking forwards and getting an idea of where they are in that square. So the aim is to try and get back into the middle of the square and perform the skill each time.
now progressing here to try and get the player realising they have to look and check whilst keeping the ball under control. So we're doing these sole rolls, but on the coach's command, the player then needs to move to the specific colour cone. Now it's up to the coach what they want to do. They could decide to call out a colour, or they could also decide to put a cone in the air. But we want to try and get the players checking and seeing and then moving to the cone from there. Now, as a further progression to that, we've now added in a step over. So the players have to really make sure that they are quick in their check and their skill is good, taking the step over or completing the step over on the correct foot in order to get to that colour cone in the quickest time possible. With this progression here, the coach could call out the two colours or hold the two colour cones up in the air. Then the player needs to make sure they move to them. Now, what's important with this is that the player is looking up to see which colours they need to go to. But when they get back to the ball, it's a quick little step over. So the quick step over needs to be on the correct foot in order to try and get to that next cone quickly. So we're now starting to look at developing body feints and quick drops to the shoulders, reacting to a stimulus, which could potentially be someone moving close to them in a game in order for them to then get away. So it's important because it's quick feet, quick change of direction, but they're also getting used to looking up and checking their surroundings rather than just staring straight down at the ball the whole time. Here we add in an L-turn. It's tricky. The player needs to do a quick step over and an L-turn to get to the cone that they need to go to. So it's having good balance, having the ability to move the ball with their right and their left foot, while also getting their chin up and being sharp when they are in control of the ball. They'll make mistakes, that's not a problem at all, but it's really good for quick feet and quick changes of direction. With this one here, one of the key aspects is the check. So the player starts at one of the sides of the square, they roll it in, get their double step over and move to the colour cone that the coach is either putting up in the air or saying. Now, what's important with this is that each time we perform the skill, we're onto the other side of the square. So it's just giving us practice in controlling the ball with different parts of the feet and moving and positioning the ball after starting off at different sides of the square. Get the check, make sure it's a quick change of direction and get players being really well balanced on both feet. So here's very similar to the previous drill that we did. We start on the right side of the square and we perform a little L-turn, stop it, and then a step over. And we move to the colour cone that the coach has pulled out in the air or has said. Now, after each turn, we move to the other side of the square. So we're rotating round the square, getting a feel for performing the skill in different positions. Sometimes we might need to perform the skill and drop our shoulder, moving the ball a little bit further away to the furthest cone or to the cone closest to us. But what it's good for, it helps the player react to that stimulus. So in a game, a player may be approached by an opponent from certain angles or different positions, and they've got to move away from them quickly with quick thought and quick feet. This really helps them with this, while also getting used to checking and a little bit of fitness with a quick change of pace. So we're just going to isolate those two skills now, so the step over and the L-turn. So we move to the cone, into the middle, perform the step over, move to the next cone, back into the middle, and then the L-turn. What we're trying to look for is get the technique right initially, but then build up the speed, keeping the control on the turn, but also realising where the player needs to position the ball in order to be able to perform the skill and get to the correct cone on the next go. What we're trying to do is to progressively make things a little bit more challenging for players and testing them a bit more. So what we've done here is some little side-to-side touches, rolled the ball to the side and then performed a double step over. After that double step over, we've had to shift our body weight and perform the L-turn. All at the same time as making sure we check and see which cone the coach has put up in the air for the player to go and move to. So it's all about positioning the ball in the right place so we can perform the skill on the correct foot and take the ball to the correct cone. But in order to do all of that, we have to make sure that we check and we see where the cones are, and we also see what the stimulus is, what the coach is doing, so then we react to it, performing the skill correctly.
We can still actually do quite a lot even if we are in our own areas and players are practicing individually. Here's great because we're keeping our same ball. The equipment is just 4 cones, just the players can't touch that. And you have the separate colour cones with different colour cones, which allows you to actually be very adaptable in the session. A coach could actually signal where the player needs to go by holding up one colour cone, so the player's focusing on getting their chin up and looking forwards. So they're starting to control the ball while looking and seeing what's going on around them. So this is great, it just gives us that chance to practice on our own, practice a lot of touches and a lot of skill work on the ball. And as you can see, I've got a bit of a sweat on, so it's a good little work for players, fitness-wise as well. But overall, guys, small space, it's doable. Get your players lots of touches on the ball, focus on the skill, the technique, making sure they use both feet, and also that they're checking forwards to see what's going on around them. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button, share with any other players, coaches that you think this may benefit, and I will see you next time.